for Cannabis Science Pub, Keep On Keeping On from Rob in 2016. I want to give this away to someone in the audience tonight, and I want to make it a drawing. And how you can enter the drawing is by filling out one of our survey cards. So maybe wait until the end of the evening when you can actually give us some valid feedback. And I'll prompt you at that point to go deposit your survey cards over at the OG Analytical table on the end, and then we'll do a drawing to find out who the lucky winner of Rob's book is. So I want to extend a really warm thank you to Erica from Constant Gardener for continually being a valuable presence for us at Cannabis Science Pub, for the continued support they have shown us, and for always hosting our trivia. You guys probably, if you didn't already know, you probably recognize that I have a little one on the way. I have a daughter who will be here in June. I'm very excited to welcome her onto our beautiful planet. But what this means for me and for you guys at Cannabis Science Pub is that I would kind of like to take a little bit of a break here. So I have invited Erica to take over for me on hostessing Cannabis Science Pub. So Erica, starting next month, will be your new hostess. Thank you very much, Erica. So the event will be same time, same place, same format, beautiful new face. Okay, so moving on to our legislative update, my portion of the legislative update. I mentioned this last month, but just for those of you who weren't here, or for those of you that need an extra reminder, as of February 1st, we have some new rules that were implemented. OG Analytical implemented some changes to support this new rule. There are new requirements for all laboratory certificates of analysis. If you have a product that you get tested and you want to take it to a dispensary, or if you go to a dispensary to buy a product, there is a certificate of analysis that has to accompany that product. And the certificate of analysis, starting February 1st, has to include these additional items that the state did not previously require. The first one being every single pesticide analyte that was screened for, so each pesticide compound that we looked for has to be listed. We have to list our limits of quantitation. The limit of quantitation, or LOQ, which you'll see on those reports, tells you what the smallest amount of that material is that we can positively identify when we do our analysis. So how low can we search for that needle in the haystack and still say that that's actually a needle? The additional QC data is a lot of stuff that you probably, is like you look at it and your eyes just kind of gloss over because you're like, what the heck does that mean? I have a couple of examples of that for you tonight that I'm gonna just kind of briefly go over with you so you can kind of understand what work goes into us doing this analysis to ensure that we're giving you good, reliable, accurate data. We also now have to record total THC and total CBD, specifically as written in the language, which requires that we take into account the fact that Delta-9 THC, the stuff that actually gets you high, comes from a biosynthetic precursor to THCA. The plant itself produces THCA, and only through a process called decarboxylation do we see that conversion to the Delta-9 THC that gets us high. So when we say how much THC does this product have in it, we want to know basically, right, like how high is this potentially going to get me? So we have to take a calculated measurement of the mass difference between the THCA and the THC. And this is now required for all cannabis analytical laboratory results. We've seen some discrepancy, a lack of standardization in the industry from some labs that will report this way. OG Analytical has always reported this way. To a cumulative summation. There are labs out there that test for multiple different types of THC, Delta-9 THC, Delta-8, THCV, THCA, even CBN we've seen labs include on this, and previously they might do a cumulative summation where they're just adding all of those different types of THC together to give you your total THC value, and that's how you can get these really huge THC potency numbers, but it's really not an accurate reflection of what effect that product might have on you, because we're looking at irrelevant types of THC that are not going to affect how high you get. So that's a new requirement as well. I've got a couple of copies of our new lab report. So for those of you that have been testing with us and recognize our test results, you might see this looks quite a bit different starting February than it did previous to February. And we implemented this change really to support the new regulation. You can see that total THC calculation is always going to be reported there. We've got this is our massive QC data section that includes that calculation. Our QC data includes things like deviations from our standard method. So if we had anything in the standard method that we utilize to produce those results, we should be reporting that information. We also have to report recoveries for all analytes. So when we do our analysis, we need to make sure that what we get out on the back end is the same thing that we put in the beginning. And to measure this, we use a sample with a known potency value of any particular compound that we're looking for. And then if we've put in 0.2 parts per million of something, we should be getting out 0.2 parts per million on the other side, right? That's how we measure our recovery. So all this stuff goes into our quality control to make sure that we're giving you good, repeatable, reliable results. We also use things like internal standards, replicates, reagent and sample blanks. This is how we measure to make sure that we are not introducing contamination at the lab. If we put in a sample that has a known value of 0, we should have 0 out the other side. If there's a positive hit for something out the other side, that means we did something wrong. So we have to go back and fix that. So we need to be reporting all of this stuff here. So when you look at your lab results from now on, you should be seeing this kind of data from any lab. And from us, if you want to know what we're doing and how we're doing it, it's all right there for you to see. The date of the analysis must be reported also for each analysis type. That's just a part of our new TNI accreditation requirements. So for every single different analysis we do, the potency, the mold, the pesticides, the water activity, the moisture content, those all should have their own individual date reported for them as well. We have added also a second page to our report. We used to have a one-page report, but in having to add all of the pesticide compounds and our LOQs and all the extra QC data, it's now a two-page report. So bear with us. Thank you for tolerating the extra paperwork you have to look at. But we've got all this good information on the pesticides report now. Each pesticide analyte is reported. We report our limit of quantitation. We've gotten a lot of questions about this, so I just thought I might go over it with you guys. We have 3 different columns on our pesticide report. The first column is the limit that the state has set, that's the tolerance. The second column is our LOQ. That's how low we can see that particular compound. How far down in the haystack can we look and still positively identify that as a needle. And then the third column is the detection that we found. So if you see this less than LOQ pass, that means that we did not find anything at all within our ability to positively quantify that compound. The detection of each compound should be reported as parts per billion or parts per million. And for us, when we report this, you're going to see this as a positive number over here. And if we have a hit, we'll put it in red just to make it a little bit easier for you to identify. We have 2 different sections on our pesticide report. The first one is the required pesticide screen, and the second one is the additional pesticides that the state doesn't require us to look for, like the abamectin that we found in the Guardian, and myclobutanil, etc. And then if we didn't detect it, we have to include a statement that the level detected was less than our limit of quantitation. So I hope that wasn't too crazy technical for you. I hope that it just kind of helped to give you a little brief overview. I promised a couple of people in the audience actually that I would go over this with them and get them this data, so now you have it. You're welcome. March 1st is our next change, And this is a pretty big one. As of March 1st, dispensaries can only accept lab results from labs that have been listed on the OHA website as an approved laboratory. In order to get on that list, a lab has to provide their quality manual, has to provide their quality manual to the OHA. This is a massive, massive document that includes basically everything about who we are, how we do what we do, and what makes us credible, reliable, and competent to do that work. So this is exactly why OG Analytical was closed last week, was so that we could work on this, so that we can make sure we meet this deadline and get on this list. We are not on the OHA approved laboratory list today. We have until the 29th. We have no fear or doubt that we will make that deadline. So just so you're aware, we'll be there. Just have patience with us. We're working on it. And lastly, I just wanted to make sure to cover this item that's in these changes for you. The OHA can do an audit of your facility, of a dispensary, and check to see that you're in compliance with these rules. And I'm not really sure what the penalties are if you're not in compliance with it, but probably a good idea to just make sure you're checking those certificates of analysis to make sure that you are in compliance. Is there any questions on any of that before I turn it over to the ETA to give us our general update? I bored you with the technical stuff, didn't I? Thank you. All right, welcome ETA. I have Ben Nagel.